Welcome everyone. We're getting ready to start. So thank you for your patience and a warm welcome to everyone. Hi, Shirlene. Hi, Karine. Hi, Serene. Hi, Jiheng. Okay, Lionel, when you're ready, we can start.
I'm always ready, just waiting for you.
You're blanked out.
I know, because you haven't started, right?
Sorry. Okay, so we're ready to start proper. Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to IBF Careers Connect. My name is Eileen, and today I've got my buddy here with me, Lionel, and we're your facilitators for this session. Lionel.
Hi everyone, thank you again for taking this afternoon time to spend with us, to choose to spend it with us. We really appreciate it. The usual question that it's going to ask is, no, we're not going to share the slides. However, you are free to take pictures of the slides if you feel that this slide is going to be useful for you. All right. With that, I think for those that are new to us, thank you for joining us for the first time. For those that has been following us, thank you again for coming up. So we shall start.
Okay. Thanks everyone. I think we're ready to start now. And okay, hold on. Let me just make sure everything is in good order. Okay, for those of you who are new to IBF Careers Connect, this is what we do. As a career center, we have got career coaches, and Lionel and I are part of this small team. And together we help you on all aspects of your job search journey. Yeah, so for those of you who are not who are already with us, thank you for being with us. And those of you who are yet to sign up with us, I hope that this session will give you an insight into some of the things that we can help you in as career advisors. So, okay. So today we're going to answer the question, why should I or why should I use LinkedIn for my job search? And in particular, the three things that I hope everyone will be able to walk off with today would be: number one, to understand basic principles around how LinkedIn works. Number two, make a decision whether LinkedIn is for you. And the third one is I'm going to show you how, some simple steps to learn to work LinkedIn for yourselves. And the caveat is that for today's session, we are going to cover general principles of LinkedIn. So we're not going to cover technical details, like, for example, how to set up your LinkedIn account, how to get an account. So we're not going to do that. And those of you who have been following us for some time, especially people who've been with Lionel or myself for some time, you will know that we will usually, these sessions are very relaxed. We will usually stop and answer questions along the way. So I want to encourage everyone to, feel free to drop us a question at any time in the Q&A panel, and we will stop and answer as many questions as we can. So again, this session is going to be as much as all of you can ask questions. So please keep the questions coming.
Yeah, and remember, these sessions, we're not going to teach you how to write my headlines, how should I write my summary and all that, right? So this is just a very broad-based approach on how LinkedIn works. Is it good for you? Should you use it? Make a decision, right? And then for those other things like how to write this, how to write that, make an appointment to see us and we will help you.
Thanks, Lionel. Right, so again, to get the most out of this webinar today, remember we are imparting principles, we're not imparting rules. And what we want everyone to be able to do after this session is to be able to take what we offer you today and apply it to your unique session. So as every coach will tell you, eat the meat and spit out the bones. So I hope that helps everyone. So disclaimer, okay, not only we are going to cover principles of using LinkedIn, right? And we are also wanting to share with everyone that we do not represent LinkedIn. So we are sharing out of our experiences with our many clients. For exact details, like for example, how the LinkedIn algorithm works, we can only ask you, please refer to LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, so, very important. LinkedIn is not paying us a single cent for this.
Yeah. So what's in it for us, right? Understand basic principles of how LinkedIn works. Okay, principle number 1. Recruiters use LinkedIn to find talent, but not all recruiters do. So everywhere you will find that everybody is telling you, go to LinkedIn, use LinkedIn, use LinkedIn. And rightly so, because in the market today, LinkedIn is the major search engine that people use when they want to find talent. So the point is that if recruiters are using LinkedIn to find talent, you have to be found, right? And however, not all recruiters are doing that. I've got questions in the chat. Oh, okay.
No questions in the chat.
Yeah, okay. No questions in the chat, right? Zach, you raised your hand. I don't know if it was accidental, but if you've got a question, I invite you to put your question into the Q&A panel. Yeah, okay. So the principle 1, recruiters use LinkedIn, but not everyone does. And the principal application for your individual situation is, if my job is not on LinkedIn, then I don't need to use it. What does that mean, right? Okay, recruiters use LinkedIn to search for talent. Therefore, my objective is to be found, right? So, which means, does an action help me to get found on LinkedIn? What we're trying to say is that, you see, you will attend lots of these career webinars, career workshops, and every one of these workshops that you attend, they're going to tell you, okay, you must use LinkedIn, you must not use LinkedIn, you must do this to your profile, you must do this to your headline or not. So what we are doing is to impart to you principle 2, which is that, yes, recruiters use LinkedIn to find talent, and therefore your objective is to be found. And why is that a guiding principle for you? Is this: does an action help me to get found on LinkedIn? Meaning to say, should I put on my headline that I am searching for work? Does this help me to get found in LinkedIn? Or should I put something else in my headline on LinkedIn that helps me to be found by a recruiter? Okay, important question, yes. Does an action hinder me from getting found? So this helps those people who are wondering, okay, I'm a very private person. I don't like my information to be publicly available on LinkedIn. So I don't want to put anything on LinkedIn. I don't want to put my photo, the company where I'm working at. I don't want to put any of these things on LinkedIn. Then the question you have to ask yourself is this stopping me from getting found on LinkedIn? Yep. So I'm hoping that everybody can follow here, and if this is good for you, I invite you to just start your questions coming. So Lionel, if you don't have anything to add, I'm going to move on. Okay, thanks. Okay, principle number 3. Okay, LinkedIn works exactly, no, I wouldn't say exactly, but it works extremely like Facebook. And what does this mean for you? If you want to be found, you have to work LinkedIn. So I hope that everyone can by now see we've been through 3 principles, right? And you would have heard me repeat the words, be found, be found, be found. So in other words, right, your whole objective of being on LinkedIn, putting your profile up on LinkedIn, is really to be found. And if that is your objective, then everything that you do has to meet that objective. Does it help me to get found? Does it stop me from getting found? Yeah. Okay, I hope everyone is clear about that. So we're going to talk about the next principle, which is, so I got a picture of the Avengers. Yeah, and like the Avengers, everyone is different. You decide what you want to be found for on LinkedIn. Okay, and this will help answer the questions of many of you would have seen all sorts of people posting all sorts of strange stuff on LinkedIn, some of which I will cover in this session, but some of which we may not. Okay, Lionel, we have our first Q&A. A very senior exec from an FI told me this. A veteran headhunter he knows says he doesn't like to source candidates from LinkedIn. According to him, executives who have to publicize themselves on LinkedIn are not the caliber of candidates they are looking for. Is this true, especially at the C level? Okay, I'm going to offer a few points for you to consider, and I'm going to ask Lionel to help me fill in the blanks later. So first off, in the job search journey, always remember that there is a rule called the 50% rule. Okay, if you're going to look for a book to find out where this rule from, no, it's not going to be found in the book because I invented that rule. Okay. And the rule helps you remember this at any point in time. Whichever view you hold in the job search journey, half the people you ask are going to say one thing, the other half are going to say the other, right? So in this case of a very senior exec from an FI, there will be 50% of headhunters who say, yes, they are sourcing for candidates from LinkedIn. The other half will say, oh, they are not sourcing candidates from LinkedIn. Okay, so that's one thing. And for the job seeker, we then have to ask ourselves, do I want to be found on LinkedIn, even if only half the headhunters are there? Yeah. So if I do not think that I want to use LinkedIn as a area for, as a platform for me to be found, then I have to ask myself, how else are people going to find me? Or how am I going to find people? How am I going to find a job? So that's consideration number one. Number two consideration, remember this also, that headhunters come from different tiers in the industry. Okay, the very, you will hear the different headhunters. The highest tier headhunters are, like, for example, that company called Hydrick and Struggles or something like that. Then there's I think Lionel is going to help me fill in some of these names. At the highest tier of headhunters, those are the headhunters that candidates do not even approach. They are the ones who will approach the people that they want.
Yeah.
And for that circle of headhunters, yes, perhaps we can say that they are not looking for people via LinkedIn. However, I don't have any suggestions or speculations as to if they are not using LinkedIn, are they relying on CNN? Are they relying on BBC or something else to find the talent that they are looking for? Yeah. So to answer your question, so is this true? Does this mean that headhunters like or do not like to use LinkedIn? Yeah, I would say apply that 50% rule. Assume that 50% of them do. Assume that 50% of them have ways outside of LinkedIn to find talent. And then make your decision. Do I want to be available in the 50% in LinkedIn for people to find me? And that will answer your question. And at the C-suite level, you then have to ask yourself, there are C-suites and there are C-suites. So the top 5 headhunting companies that look for the C-suite levels, if they are looking for you, then you are sure that you're in that category. You don't have to be on LinkedIn. But if you're a C-suite level and you're not in that category where these top tier headhunters are knocking on your doors every day, then consider this. Do you want to be on LinkedIn? So I hope this helps, and I'm going to ask Lionel to help me fill in the blanks.
I think more or less you have covered, this has been covered because at the end of the day, as we said, our webinar or our clinic, whatever you call it, is to let you decide, do you want to use it? Because LinkedIn is only one of the tools that you can use in your job search. And the question you have to ask yourself is what Eileen said, do you want to be found on LinkedIn or not? If the answer is, I'd want to be found, I don't believe in LinkedIn, I don't think LinkedIn is going to help me, that's fair, that's fine. Then, then this statement doesn't affect you whether, the headhunters are on or not. But as we said, there are headhunters that rely on LinkedIn, and there are headhunters that do not need LinkedIn to look for their talent. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do I still want to be attracted by those headhunters that does use LinkedIn? If the answer is yes, then I guess the question has been answered, regardless of what people say, because people always have different opinions, different ways, different ideas. So at the end of the day, is your journey, is how you decide what type of journey you want to go through. As career coaches, we can only advise you that yes, LinkedIn is one of the tools that people use. However, if you will come to see me and say, hey, Lionel, I really do not like to use LinkedIn, I'm not very comfortable, that's fine. There's other ways for us to help you in your job search journey. Yeah.
And to round out this last principle of, you decide what you want to be found for, I have also seen people post using LinkedIn as an avenue for themselves or to help them fundraise for other people. For example, there's some altruistic cause that people are trying to put out an appeal for money for. I've seen people making posts on that, and I've also seen people something that I feel personally is quite extreme, posting their prayer requests on LinkedIn. But that's only my personal opinion. Yeah. So remember, everything you do, you decide what you want to be found for. Yeah. And so before we move on, I'm going to answer Jason Ho's question. Do we need to engage in conversation in LinkedIn for those we follow so that we can be more prominent in the radar and be hunted? The answer is two parts, yes. So in order to be more prominent, yes, you will need to engage in conversation. And then the second part is that, example, you follow Citibank or a person you don't know, if there's a post, you're thinking whether to comment and engage in conversation. So yes, when you comment and engage, you will move up in the algorithm, according to the algorithm rules, when your visibility will go up. But we will cover that in the next few slides. When we talk about the actual activity, how are we going to work LinkedIn for those of you who are keen to do this? Yeah. Okay. Lionel, ready to move on? Okay. And then okay. The next thing that we are going to answer is I hope that this segment will help everyone decide if LinkedIn is actually for you. So one question that you have to answer for yourself is, are your jobs on LinkedIn? And we've put down two examples here. Okay, so the first example is if you're looking for a job like Starbucks, or perhaps you want to do something really if you want to do something really manual, for example, you want to be a construction supervisor, then you have to really ask yourself, is Starbucks advertising for its baristas on LinkedIn? Okay, or is the construction company that I'm wanting to work for advertising its vacancies on LinkedIn? So that's first line of questioning. The second picture, I got a picture of the FBI, is that if you're working for a secret services or some sort, or some sensitive military jobs, those jobs aren't going to be on LinkedIn. So in other words, right, if your jobs are not going to be on LinkedIn, then it's a platform that you don't have to worry about. And every rule comes with its reverse, right? So if the jobs I'm interested in is on LinkedIn, then that will help you to answer the question, do I want to be on LinkedIn then? Okay. Yeah. The next question you want to ask yourself to decide whether LinkedIn is for you is, are you prepared to do the work to reap and sow? So the reason why we put this picture of this grain on it, right, is because LinkedIn is a long-term affair. It's really us all having to do this sowing and reaping. And it doesn't mean like, today I'm working, I don't need to use my LinkedIn account at all. And then tomorrow I'm retrenched, I need a job. So I'm going to start getting onto LinkedIn tomorrow. And then I expect to be found on LinkedIn next week by somebody who needs me. It doesn't happen that way. LinkedIn does have a time period. So, before you decide whether LinkedIn is for you, think through whether you are prepared to do the work to reap and sow on LinkedIn. There is a sowing time, there is a harvesting time for LinkedIn. Okay. And the next question to ask yourself, if you want to decide whether you want to be on LinkedIn or not, is, do you have a runway? Meaning, are you at that stage in your career where you really don't want to engage in all this work on LinkedIn? And you don't want to spend your energy and effort. No, we're not talking about spending hours and hours every day. We are just, okay, when we talk about that section on, working LinkedIn, then we can we will give some guidelines about how long you should be spending on LinkedIn every day. But you have to ask yourself, okay, if I'm 2 years away from retirement, am I going to take this trouble to set up my LinkedIn account or to start working it like Facebook to find myself a job for the next 2 years? Where I'm, in 2 years' time, I'm going to retire and travel the world or something like that. Yeah, so that's another question you have to ask yourself. So, and then of course, for those of you who really hate social media, okay, if you really hate social media, think again, is LinkedIn really for you? Okay. And this is to answer the question for those of you who really hate social media. You can still put up a skeletal version of yourself on LinkedIn. Yeah, and as to how to do that, there are plenty of tutorials for that. LinkedIn has got plenty of tutorials. YouTube does as well. So have a look for those of you who are really averse to social media. Okay, so we are right at the very last part of this, and this is where I hope that all the questions will start coming along. So learn simple tips to work LinkedIn. Okay, tip number 1. I will only appear in a recruiter search if I am connected. So remember just now, the very first part of what we are trying to cover is we need to understand basic principles of how LinkedIn works. And we mentioned that your whole objective of being on LinkedIn is really to be found. And so tip number 1 helps you to achieve that. I will only appear in a recruiter search if I am connected. And what does this mean? Okay, this is one of the most important slides in this whole presentation, I think. So I hope everyone can pay a little bit of attention here. So assume that you are that person in the left-hand corner, in the left hand, in the purple circle. I hope everyone can see that. The people who have a direct connection to you are called your first degree connection. So that's the 2 people with the label 1 next to them, right? And the people that they know, but whom you don't know, are the people in blue. So the people in blue are those we call when from the point of the person in purple, we are saying that the people in blue are my second degree connections. And then further on, the people who are directly connected to the people labeled in blue, but who are not connected to that original person in purple, the people who are labeled 3, right? Those are your third degree connections. Why is this important, right? Because if your headhunter is at a third degree connection, let's assume that one of the people in green is a headhunter. So when that headhunter searches for, say, assume that you are a trade finance specialist, okay? So that person in green, if one of the persons in green is searching for a trade finance director using the LinkedIn search engine, right? You aren't, the person in purple is not going to appear. Yeah. So only for that person, the number 3 is the recruiter. Only the people who are labeled to, who have a direct connection to that recruiter are going to appear in his search results. Trade finance director. So back to the question, right? In this slide, I will only appear in the recruiter search if I am connected, which means that if you are not directly connected to the recruiter, it doesn't help you. And the degree of proximity to that particular recruiter matters. Okay, I hope everyone's following that. Yeah, and so this will also question, some of the questions related to this point will then arise. Okay, if I'm new to LinkedIn, do I start off by sending invites to all the people I know? Okay, this is and I mean, if you are keen to be on LinkedIn and to work LinkedIn, yes, the answer is yes. And however, LinkedIn has a rule that you cannot be sending invite. I mean, the rule is this: if you're sending invites to people that you do not know, and one of them decides to say, I don't know this person, you get 3 of these I don't knows, you're going to get banned from LinkedIn for like about a week or something like that. So this is something that is not really, I don't think this is clearly spelled out in LinkedIn's info anywhere, but it does happen to people. And we only know this because we've been working with people, we've been working with LinkedIn all this while.
Mhm.
So the thing is, right, you see, if I will only appear in the recruiter search if I'm connected, and I'm not even connected to the recruiter, right? How am I going to get found? So my suggestion, again, okay, you decide whether you want to implement our suggestion, is to increase our connections by accepting all the random requests that come in from people I don't know. Okay, I hope everybody got that, which means that, for example, if I'm the person in purple, I want to increase my visibility to as much as I can, even if I have a request coming in from the blue circles and they look like they are from Nigeria, they look like they are scammers. My suggestion, at least what I would do is, look, if I accept this request, I can't get scammed. You know that I'm just merely accepting a request, but accepting that request helps LinkedIn pull me one step closer to the person in green. Then I will accept that request. So therein is why we ask you that if you really want to grow your connections, do that. Just accept all the connections you can indiscriminately. And we use that word for a specific reason, which means you're just supposed to accept all requests so that you can grow your connections the fastest. And for those of you who are wondering, why do I have to grow my connections? Because the number of connections you have on LinkedIn also determines how high you rank in a search result.
Mm.
So I hope, I hope everybody got that. To answer Jason's earlier question, so yes, you can be connected, but if the number of connections, if you only have like 8 or less than 100, less than 500 active connections, right? Chances are you're not going to show up very highly in a recruiter search. And by showing up highly, what we mean by, if a recruiter has to scroll to the 5th or 6th page before your profile shows up, then that's not very good for you.
We have 2 questions, Eli.
Okay, regarding my profile, that will be found if I'm connected to a recruiter, but I've been contacted in LinkedIn by recruiters twice. I was told they found me via LinkedIn. Yeah. Okay, what is the exact question again?
I think they want to know how is it that the recruiter found them, right? So I think you will be answering it later on when it comes to how the person set up the profile with the keywords and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, I can answer it in a nutshell so that I will give, so that whoever's listening, right, will have some idea for pondering. So in your profile, right, if you fill in your headline, that very short
sentence, the sentence just below your picture.
Yeah, if you fill in the headline with some sensible words, for example, trade finance specialist, and not with words like I'm open to work, right? And then if you fill in your job experience with all the proper titles, proper job, proper company titles, and then proper information in the experience portion of the LinkedIn, when a recruiter is looking for trade finance director, for example, the search engine in LinkedIn is going to go through everybody's profiles and then pick out the profiles that most match the title trade finance director. And then I believe LinkedIn also has a time where button or something where the recruiters can actually determine that they want a trade finance director with 5 years of experience, for example. So therefore, the manner in which you fill in your LinkedIn profile, the number of years of experience is going to come into play as well on how the search engine actually treats your profile. Yeah, and that's how recruiters find you. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, from Tarun. I read in some LinkedIn books that you should only connect with people who can recommend or vouch for your work. This maintains or should maintain the quality of your network. How does this fit in with adding indiscriminately? Okay, one thing here. So if you should only, the thing is, right, the whole basis of why we want to add connections indiscriminately is because the number of connections directly tells the search engine that you can be ranked up or ranked low. So, so what happens is that if you decide, and by the term, the quality of your network, right? The whole purpose of LinkedIn is to be found. And when a recruiter finds you, the search engine is purely, the algorithm is purely looking for your profile and whether it has the keywords that match whatever the recruiter is looking for. So that's one thing. The second thing, when the recruiter actually finds your profile, is he or she is going to look at, the number of recommendations or endorsements you have. That's the second thing. Rarely is any recruiter going to look through your 30,000 connections and determine that half of them come from Nigeria. So it's on that basis that we are offering to you this area for consideration. Yeah. So yes, you should connect with people who can recommend or vouch for your work,
Sure.
because you want them to put endorsements or recommendations on your profile. But my stand, at least from the perspective of wanting to up your search ranking, is that no, if you only connect with these people, your number of connections is going to be very, very small, unless you are a celebrity or somebody who is whose work allows you to be heavily profiled on LinkedIn itself.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit, it's like, again, the question always comes back to, what do you want to use it for? How you want to use LinkedIn? And yeah, because you will find that survey shows that the people that usually, how should I put it in a nice way? The people that actually will vouch for you or do a lot for you are usually may not be the first level people. It's usually the second or the third level people. So in order for you to be found by more people, you do, to a certain degree, need to connect indiscriminately, or what, how you call it, because that's the only way for you to expand the scope so that people can find you. Because as you can see from the pictures, the illustration that is before you at this slide, number 3 will not be able to find you if you're not connected to number 2. It's as simple as that. So the more people that you are connected with, the chances are higher that more people can find you. But again, we go back to the same thing. Do you want to be found? And what do you want to be found for? And that will be the part whereby you come to us and we decide to set up your profile, right? So as I said, today's thing is to just let you know how, shall we say, powerful LinkedIn is in terms of reaching out to a diverse groups of network people. Because you'll be surprised that sometimes it could be someone that's not related to your profession is the one that tells the recruiter about you or found you through another means. So don't think that it's like only, if I'm a relationship manager, I should only connect with people in private banking or wealth. The rest I'm not going to connect. No, because then you're only limiting yourself, and you're not fully using LinkedIn's powerful algorithm way of being found. But as we said, if obviously, if you're going to connect, not everybody on LinkedIn is going to be good, shall we say, right? Because some people use LinkedIn to scam, some people use LinkedIn to, so, as much as we encourage you to connect, I'm sure you should have your own parameters that you set to decide whether you want to connect with that person, right? I mean, as long as you don't give them the money or you don't do anything, that's the most they can do, right? The most you just block or you delete this connection. I know But if you are, for some reason, you depart funds with that people, then it's your own choice, shall I say? Right? So be careful. It's the same thing. Even people that you know could end up, I won't use scamming you, but you may end up having losses for people that you know. So you just have to be very diligent, vigilant. We're not asking you to go crazy and accept every Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to be your friend, right? I mean, I have cases whereby I accepted somebody, and the next thing they do is they try to sell me something. So I immediately block this connection because that's not what I want to use LinkedIn for.
For me, I have a different method from Lionel, because for me, I do accept connections indiscriminately, because my rationale is that, look, the most they can do is to send you a scammer email, right? Yeah. And if I don't respond, there's nothing much that can happen beyond that. So my rationale for doing what I do is that, you see, if the scammer is one of the people labeled 2, let's assume that person in the middle of this slide is labeled 2, he's a scammer, right? But if I don't connect to this scammer, right, I can never access the person labeled 3. Yeah, so that's my rationale. So if I hope this helps all of you decide on your connection. Yeah. Okay, the next question. If I update my profile, does everyone in my connection see my updates? No. I believe the latest version of LinkedIn does not have that option anymore. In the past, I would think in the last 5-6 years ago, it used to be, but rest assured now, the default is that no, not everyone in your connection sees the update. So feel free to update. And if you are really, really worried, there is always a privacy setting where you can turn it completely private, spend a few days updating your profile, and then turn it completely public. But even at the point when you turn it public, no, LinkedIn does not publish
any update. Yes.
Yeah.
In the past, yes. In the past, even if you change one letter in your name or your job, everybody in your network will get the message. Oh, so and so just updated their profile, which can be irritating, yes. But now, no. Now they don't. So you can go and update your profile daily or every hour, and you will not cause everybody in your network to be upset with you.
Yeah. And then the next question is, if I update, wait, no, that's done. The next question is, so what happens after you've hit the limit of 30K connections? So as I understand it, after you hit 30K connections, right, you cannot add anymore, but people can still follow you. So it doesn't freeze your own activity, your ability to continue being active on LinkedIn. Yeah. And how do you reach out to us? Oh, Tarun, feel free to send us an email at, wait, I think we've got it.
Later we flash, at the end of the presentation, that we will flash 3 ways that you could connect with us, so that you can have a one-to-one session with one of our career advisor.
And for those of you who already are using your LinkedIn account, right? I already said that I accept connections. Feel free to send me or Lionel connections. I don't block anyone. So and even if you're trying to sell something to me, I don't block you, but Lionel will. So
you want to sell me something, it will be more of a physical rather than through online. I just don't like online sales. I mean, I'm just too old-fashioned for that.
Okay, now next question from Anonymous as well. What are our opinions on LinkedIn Premium Career for job seekers? How useful is it for job seekers and for people looking to build up their career? For me, my standard suggestion is don't sign up for it. Your current account, just by working some of the simple tips that we are going to show you, can help you get to a certain level of visibility. And okay, I mean, I'm going to leave Lionel to fill in the details because he knows more about the premium career account than I do. Yeah.
I think the only difference between the premium account is for the premium account, you may be able to see some of the people that are looking for you so that you have a clearer idea who has been looking at your profile. With the premium account, one of the good things about the premium accounts is it let you access to LinkedIn Learning, which is a which has a rich subject of things that you could learn online, and so-called is free in the sense that you only paid for the subscription for the premium. So again, it depends on how much you want to invest to make your decision on whether you want to be a premium members. So obviously there is a difference. I think if I'm not wrong, premium account also allow you to direct message certain people who has put up certain privacy setting. So yeah, so you have to decide whether is it worthwhile. But as what Eileen say, I don't have a premium account. I used to have one when it was given to me free for a year. But other than I find that to me, there is not much of a difference. I mean, unless you really want to know who's been stalking you, then I guess you should get a premium account so that you can see everybody that has viewed your profile.
And in other words, what we are saying is that premium account lets you know the identity of the people who are already searching for you or who are already viewing your profile, but it does not promote you. It does not, you're not paying for the premium account to rank higher in search results.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I hope that helps. Yeah, and I hope that helps to save some money for everyone as well. Okay, yeah. And for Daniel Goh, regarding accepting connections indiscriminately, okay, it's a double-edged sword. A downside, if we accept too many bad connections, will we have a bad profile reputation on LinkedIn that affects our account? No, to the best of our knowledge, LinkedIn does not, have indicators on every profile, and they do not measure the quality of your profile. They don't measure the quality of your profile by, analyzing how many bad connections or indiscriminate connections you have, simply because there is no criteria that tells LinkedIn that this is an indiscriminate connection. So in other words, if you don't know me today and I accept you simply because I told, okay, for example, if Lionel, I don't know Lionel sends me an invite, right? And then I tell my friend, hey, I'm accepting Lionel's invite indiscriminately. But LinkedIn does not hear me saying this about Lionel. So to LinkedIn, this invite from Lionel that I accepted is still a legit invitation. Yeah, so that's what we're saying.
Yeah, because your profile would not be affected by the number of bad connection, because LinkedIn doesn't know that it's a bad connection, right? However, if the connection is black mark, you won't be able to connect with that person in the first place. So if that person has been known in the LinkedIn circles as someone that posts stuff that they're not supposed to post, yeah, so LinkedIn has the rights to ban them or whatever, then it will not affect you.
Yeah. And as long as you're not the one, how should we say, the one doing all that
spreading this
on LinkedIn, yeah, you don't have to worry about having any bad profile reputation and things like that. Okay. And remember, our objective to be on LinkedIn is to be found. Most of us are not even at that level where we can be found yet. So when you get to that stage where you have to worry about that, that's a happy problem. Yeah. Okay, the next question we have is, are you able to share any tips on validating or verifying the so-called recruiter on LinkedIn that have reached out to us before accepting their invite or sharing further with them? Objective is to avoid people with ill intent in reaching out to us. Okay, this one, right, we aren't able to validate or verify the identity, but usually a recruiter on LinkedIn, right, they will be able to furnish you with the job details. They will be able to furnish you with job detail, an exact job description, even if they cannot tell you the company that they are recruiting for. So very rarely will they, how should I say, very rarely will a recruiter in the first message ask you for things like your salary information without even furnishing you with a job description. And I have also seen some scammers on LinkedIn who will write to people and saying they have a fantastic job for you. But you will notice that those kind of messages, right? They will not offer any other details other than asking you to email them back with your, asking you to email them back with your details or whatever. So for those, right, I basically just ignore. Yeah.
I mean, if the first thing they do is, I have a fantastic job for me, but I need you to put a deposit so that I can secure this job, for sure, this is not a legit. And if you really want to search, I mean, you can always find out whether this person really is working for this particular organization or whether this organization exists in the first place.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there's no, I mean, what a tip, I guess, is you will need to be really be on your guard, even though you are connecting indiscriminately, and if someone offer you something, don't just grab it as if it's gospel truth. Do your own homework, find out whether this company exists, find out if it exists, then there will be telephone numbers there. Find out whether this person really works for that company. If you really, really want. But I mean, telltale signs, red flags, obviously is, hey, I got this job for you. It's a fantastic job. It's flexible. You work from home, blah, blah, blah. You just need to maintain this account of money, send me your money. Then you know when people ask you to send them things, that is already a red flag.
And also, I mean, in my experience, right, when it's a really legitimate recruiter, they will always have the job description ready for you, and they will specify which part of your profile is useful for the job that they are recruiting for. So, for example, right, I once had a recruiter, a recruiter write to me for a position in World Bank, and then when they were able to I mean, the job description they offered was something that I was already qualified to do in. So that's one way of telling that it is a legitimate thing. Because usually the scammers will tell you about this, like what Lionel says, a fantastic job offer without any other details and without even
just tell you earn lots of money. Don't even tell you what you do to earn lots of money. It's like you're gonna earn lots of money. It's a cushy job, flexible time. You can work when you want to work. These are should be screaming at you to let you know that this is not legit.
And they also will not be making reference to your own profile. And by the same token, right, recruiters asking you for your resume, again, most of your resume or whatever it is that's caught their attention should be enough for them to send you a job description. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And never divulge salary information to someone that you've never met.
Yep.
And by the way, this happens this happens in real life as well, not just on LinkedIn. There are employers who are just fishing for salary information, and they will call up candidates to say that we are considering to give you an interview for this position.
Yeah,
before we schedule an interview for you, we want to find out your salary. So those I typically don't answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fishing expedition.
Yeah. Okay, so we have another question from Jacqueline. Jacqueline, sorry. After accepting connections indiscriminately, are we able to remove bad connections? Yes, you are.
Yes. You can delete or block or whatever that connection. And if you really want, you can even report it.
Yeah. But whether or not LinkedIn does anything about it,
correct.
Okay, so we're ready to move on. Okay, tip number 2. People search using keywords. It happens in all social media. It happens in all search engines. So if I'm on Amazon looking for a camera, I will use the word camera. I will use the word lens. So I must use the keywords that I want to be found for. So remember just now I mentioned a couple of times that your headline in LinkedIn is where you need to put in your keywords and not waste it saying that I am having hashtag FOMO, FOMO. and you don't want to use that headline to say I'm looking for a job, because no recruiter is going to go into LinkedIn and type looking for a job, right? So in other words, right, remember, use the space in LinkedIn to put in the keywords that you want to be found for. So what this means is that wherever your industry is, you must know very well what are the keywords that are important to you.
That's where, on a separate note, that's why we say that, your resume, blah blah blah, have to match. It's the same principle. If you have to decide on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is different from your resume, you got to decide on your LinkedIn, what do you want to be known for, so when they type that keyword, you will appear. Right? I mean, for us, Eileen and us, for sure we're going to put career advisor or career coaching as our keywords, because that's what we do. We want to be known for that. So that if someone type career coach, our profile will pop up to them.
Yeah. And also, right, for some of you who may have been, there might be some of you who have been doing jobs. For example, if you have been doing a business analyst job, but your but your company calls you a data analyst, you have to be aware that your title in the market is business analyst. So this is probably for a portion of our audience who is either not very sure or very new in your careers. Your company may have called you something totally different from what your expertise is. So please bear in mind that when you use your title in LinkedIn, be clear that it is representative of what you are actually doing. Yeah. Okay, we have a next question. Is it better to apply directly from the company website rather than from LinkedIn for the same job with the same JD? For me, I will pretty cover all my bases. I will just apply on both. I'm going to leave Lionel if you have a different.
Okay, I mean, that caught me. I guess you could apply for both, and they are the company's AI will be able to pick up that it's a duplicate. But short answer, I always prefer to apply. As me. If I see the two jobs, one on LinkedIn or on other job portals, and the same job is on the company's webpage, I tend to apply at the company's webpage, because I would think, rightly or wrongly, that if you apply through the company website, it shows at least one thing: you're interested in the company. That's why you're on the company's website. So indirectly, it's suggesting to the recruiter that you've been looking at their company and that you are actually really want to work for that company. But that's how I feel. But again, whatever we tell you is a guide. You decide whether it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make any sense to you. Then yeah, you can apply for both just to be safe, or apply through LinkedIn. That's fine also.
For me, my rationale for doing both, right, is actually from a different scenario altogether. Is assuming that that company's talent acquisition may be very big, and then whoever posted on LinkedIn may be different from the person who posted on the company website, and we don't know who is actually picking up which first. So that would be my rationale for wanting to post on both. Yeah. Okay. And okay, we have another question. Are you able to selectively allow only certain users to access your profile? I believe yes, that LinkedIn has got
yes, they do have, but I'm not too sure, because people like me and Eileen is everybody can find us.
And then the use case here is to only allow access on demand by recruiter when requested, right? I think recruiters do have specific privileges, because recruiters, when they use LinkedIn, they are using paid recruiter accounts.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So LinkedIn does allow that. And another note, you will notice that LinkedIn has got this option where you can write down things like open to work, and then your profile picture has a green sticker, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, like it or not, recruiters do have a bias. And again, I can't give you a percentage of how many recruiters have this bias, but recruiters tend to prefer people who are in service, who are in employment. So when you have this loud banner in your profile screaming that I'm jobless now, I am looking for work, you may get you may just get discriminated against.
Yeah, that's as like every choice that you're gonna make, there's always two sides, and you have to decide which works better for you. Yeah, I tend to lean towards what Eileen say. If you were to have that green banner, yes, the advantage obviously if someone needs this post filled very urgently, then they will quickly call you because they know that there's no notice period, right? So as you see what works best for you, you decide. Right? Because there is no right or there's no wrong answer.
Okay,
so I guess if you have a very unique job that only certain number of people can fill because of the expertise that's required, yeah, for sure, scream on the green screen that that I'm available. Then obviously it works to your advantage because there's not many people have that skill set. So choose based on your situation.
And also, right, another perspective I have about this question about allowing only certain users to access your profile is that you see, you have to have enough information on your profile to allow a recruiter to find you first. So if you are hiding everything and all your keywords are hidden, the recruiter isn't even going to be able to find you. So just bear that in mind. Yeah. And then, okay, so each LinkedIn profile has many sections. Which section should we plant search words to have more chances of being found by recruiter search? As many of the sections as you can. Yeah,
yes.
Really. Even in the, so when we teach LinkedIn, right? So we always talk about, okay, so you have a headline. So a headline must have your keywords. Then you have this about section. So your about section is that place where you can tell a story about yourself. And why we are saying tell a story, because everybody's resume is a very cut and dried resume. A resume has no feelings, no personality to it. If I may say that. But LinkedIn, a LinkedIn profile, why LinkedIn wants people to put photos, why you're allowed to put an about section where you want to talk about yourself is because it gives an insight into the personality of this person. And that helps recruiters make up their minds what kind of personality or character this person is. And this does influence who calls you.
Yeah. Because some people even put a short video about themselves to introduce themselves and things like that, which the resume doesn't, right? So use what's best to your advantage to be different, to stand out from others, millions of users on LinkedIn.
Yeah. And for your link, so to help you to answer that question, right? So the headline, the about section, your job title. So again, every job title, every title in each of your jobs, right? Use the right keywords, right? So if your company, again, if your previous company or your employment calls you by something, for example,
if the market is not calling,
Yes, change that title to what the market is calling you. This is very important. So I hope everyone gets this point. Change the title to what the market is calling you. The experience section must have enough keywords, and your education and your the part where you put in, for example, if you have a CFA, you need to put all that in because it all comes out in the search results.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope we have answered that. If we are not clear, feel free to pose another question.
Yeah, you can follow up the question, yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then I have on the question of applying directly from the company or via LinkedIn. Is there any research data that is showing success rate is higher for application via LinkedIn? I am quite sure there's no such data because
at least not publicly published.
Yeah. Because this involves not just market behavior, but it also involves LinkedIn having to get data from each of the companies that use LinkedIn, whether they were hired through LinkedIn or through their own portal. And I'm not sure whether LinkedIn even has.
You're right, Eileen. LinkedIn may not even know, that the job that you just posted is filled by someone that found the job in the first place on LinkedIn.
Okay, question from Ritz. Okay, what should one say if they are jobless or in the process of changing jobs? Right, okay. So this, okay, I am assuming if you're jobless for the time being, and if you're jobless for the time being, right, it depends on how recently you had an employment. So for example, if you were retrenched or you left your job last month, you don't update your LinkedIn for a while, and that's an acceptable thing to do.
Yeah, likewise, some people found a new job, they don't immediately update to say, I am now, they may do it after their confirmation period. So there's no law that says that you got to keep it very, very updated. Of course, it should be updated, but, again, it depends on the circumstances, when or how you're going to update it.
And also, again, remember, people are searching for you using keywords, right? So it is in your interest to determine what you put. If, for example, your gap turns into a rather long period of time, you want to put something else in there. So you can decide what you want to put in there to reflect that you are staying relevant to the market. If you're doing volunteer work, you're upgrading yourself with courses. Those are all things that you can put in place of a job if you feel like, okay.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn has a new feature now for you to put in the career break on, as in what you are doing during the career break.
Yeah. And of course, if you feel like your case is very sensitive, you don't want to post it here, feel free to talk to any one of our career advisors. We can help you to work through it. Yeah. Okay, next question. I have many certifications and quite a few qualifications. Will listing all of it be an overload on LinkedIn? Or would you say it's better off to cover off the limitation of a traditional 2-page resume, or I should select only what I wish to highlight? Okay, I would say, again, we're back to the principle. I decide what I want to be found for. So there are a few permutations. So permutation number 1, you are very qualified, you have many certifications and quite a few qualifications. You're going for a senior management job. Then it is in your interest to ensure that all those experiences and qualifications be on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is really the place to tell a story. You limiting yourself to 2 pages worth of text on LinkedIn is not doing yourself any favor, because you are limiting your keywords. And because LinkedIn also allows you to put out presentations, videos, a portfolio, and all these things. So make it a point to decide the kind of persona, the kind of image that you want to put up on LinkedIn. On the other hand, if, for example, you are someone who was in senior management, been there, done that, but at this stage in your life, perhaps you want to take on a lower role, operational role, you can tell that story on LinkedIn as well. So you don't have to intentionally dequalify yourself by leaving out all your qualifications, but you can use the about section to explain yourself, and tell that story about yourself having climbed, all the mountains you wanted to climb in the careerscape, and now you're ready to help other people climb their career ladders. Something like that. Storytelling on LinkedIn. Yeah. I hope this answers your question. Okay, so if we don't have any questions for now, I'm going to move on. And keep your questions coming. Very good questions.
Yeah, very good questions.
Yeah. Okay, the next tip I have is I will only rank high in a search if I'm active. So I believe it was Jason just now who asked that question about engagement. So this is where we are going to talk about what do you mean by being active on LinkedIn? Excuse me. So again, if you don't take away anything from our workshop, remember these 3 letters, LCS, like, comment, and share. So LinkedIn, how you rank in LinkedIn also depends on your level of activity. So the first thing is you need to have a high number of connections, right? So we talked about that just now. And secondly, you also need to be active on LinkedIn, which means that you need to be engaging other people's posts. The very basic thing is to like people's posts, because then LinkedIn will know that you're alive, you're active. The next thing to do is to comment. So for example, if you Lionel posts something, right? And if I like his post, okay, that brings me up one up higher. But if I like his post and I comment on his post, and if Lionel is an influencer with 30,000 connections, when I comment on his post and when he replies to my comment, which he should, if he's really in that space, when he replies to my comment, right, all his 30,000 followers see my comment and they see me, they see my name. So those people who are curious about the question I ask will be curious to then click on my name and go into my profile.
And decide to connect or not.
Yeah. So this is the purpose behind why you're commenting on people's posts. And so, okay, let me see. Before I move on to share is very important. Okay, for REITs, certification or MBA creates an advantage as compared to those who don't. Is this true? Okay, the certification, whether or not it creates an advantage, highly depends on the job that you have in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a rule that we can tell you that yes, an MBA helps, or no, it doesn't. Yeah. So again, it is always relevancy. It's a relevance to it, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have heard the people talk about there are some jobs that they would prefer the actual experience rather than the certification. So it all depends. So we don't have a one ring to rule them all to say yes, MBA is going to help, or no, a CFA is going to help, or whatever CIAI or whatever is going to help. It all depends on the job you're applying for, and to know whether I'm going to just sidetrack. We always say that let the market let you know whether this certification is going to help you. I mean, if you're looking for 10 jobs for a certain job and they all say must have an MBA, then obviously you have one, it's going to help you.
Yeah. So again, it depends on your whole profile, your target job, and the kind of persona that you want to you want to portray. Yeah, and then okay, so back to Daniel's question, what is a reasonable number of words in the LinkedIn profile about for storytelling? There's no such thing called reasonable number of words, because remember that profile, right, is used, that particular field is used for the search engine to find you. So if you're afraid that people get bored after reading your profile, then number one, make sure that you're interesting. You're someone who's interesting and has got interesting things to write on that about section. And number two, make sure you include all your keywords, at the bottom, like, if you're certified in 5 different personality profiling tools, have all the names there. If you've been working in different continents or worked with different cultures, because cross-cultural skills, communication skills are an asset, then write down all the geographies that you've worked at, and so on and so forth. Yeah, and remember, you're always free to put in another URL or PowerPoint slides or a short video or hyperlink to anything on that profile of yours, because that space is meant to be your portfolio. Yeah. Then Chloe, I'm not sure if liking or commenting competitor posts will create any perceived conflict of interest. Okay, that really depends on the whole context of you're trying to do, because when you comment on their posts, you are boosting their visibility, because then they look active. And when you comment on their posts, your own activity goes up. And if they respond to your comment, your own activity level is boosted. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. If not, please post again, then we'll try our best to answer that. Yeah. And then I'm going to move next to share. What on earth do you share? So many people have this idea that, I'm a risk person. So every day I want to post one risk article. The truth is, right, the purpose of sharing is so that it can be propagated. Now, if I share an article on risk, I have like only one friend on risk, and only she is going to read it, let alone share my article. So no, professional articles are not the thing to share if you want to increase your level of activity, if you want to increase your level of engagement. What you want to share are things that allow people to like, to comment, and to reshare. And the things that fit this category of content is really humor, motivation, or inspiration. So I'm going to let that sink in a bit and
yes,
see whether
you have to let it sink in. Okay, let's put it this way. Yes, if you share something that is inspiring, something that's aspiration, you most probably going to get more like and stuff like what they say. However, if you are the subject matter expert, let's say in risk, as what Eileen say, then yeah, on occasionally you should share, articles. Maybe I won't even say you share. Maybe you should actually blog or actually write something on that subject matter expert, and then post it out. So it's more like post rather than share. So yeah, there's some difference. So again, you have to decide what you want to be found for, because if you are a subject matter expert in certain thing, the recruiter will expect to be seeing certain things that you write that shows that you are a subject matter expert, right? So, balance what comes out from you, so that people are excited to read your post or read your share.
To add to what Lionel has said, right? I will move back a couple of slides so that we all remember why in the first place we are sharing. So again, in order for us to, okay, so this is the magic slide, right? So in order for us to show up in person number 3's search, if person number 3 is looking for a trade finance, if I'm a trade finance person, but I don't do any of this liking, sharing, or commenting, I am never going. So first off, if I'm not connected to 1 or 2, I'm not even going to show up anywhere near 3. So that's the first rule. Secondly, another factor, whether or not I will show up in the first 1 to 3 pages of the person number 3 is my level of activity. So that is determined by whether I do enough liking, commenting, or sharing. And the third reason why I want to share, for example, if I want to share deep subject matter expert, yes, you can share. And it does look good when person number 3 finds you. But it does you no good if that is all you share and nobody ever reshares your article. And the reason is this. So if you look at this particular slide, you will understand. So for example, I'm the purple guy, right? If I'm the purple guy, I don't know anyone. But today I shared a viral piece on something very, very inspirational, very touching, or something like that, right? And then person 1 decides, oh, it's so good that I must reshare. So when person 1 reshares, all the persons with 2 get it, and they also think that, oh, it's so good that I must reshare. So person 2 reshares to and it gets to person 3. Then when person 3 looks at this, and person 3 is a recruiter, person 3 will say, oh, this is really, really good. I want to see who is the originator. Person 3 will then click all the way back to me, the purple person, look at my profile and see, oh, actually this person is a trade finance person. This is how recruiters find you. And it happens when you share something that is shareable, reshareable, and reshareable. It doesn't happen because you share a lot of expertise, or a lot of expertise. So yes, by the time person 3 finds you for that joke that you shared, it would be nice to have, to see you writing a few articles on trade finance on your post. But before that, you have to put out that reshareable post that will allow person 3 to find you in the first place. So I hope if there's nothing else that everybody takes away from this, right? This is a very important principle in this whole thing. Okay. Yeah, and like, comment, share. Do we have any other questions? Oh, we don't.
No.
Okay. And then, okay, the next one, tip number 4. If I want my content to propagate, it must be shareable. Okay, so this is what I've just said. It's always humor, motivation, or inspiration. And if you're really one of those gung-ho characters and you want, you do not mind going viral, then you can put out, especially when dramas happen in politics or anything like that, right? If you want your content to propagate, it must be shareable. So you can take a piece from, some critical piece that's very controversial, go share it, and then people will get so outraged, or people have such strong opinions on the thing that you're sharing that they feel compelled to respond to your post. So they'll leave some comments. Then when you engage with the comments, you reply to those comments, then your activity level goes up. So you will start ranking higher on the search engine for LinkedIn. I will share an example of one of the posts that I did some years back. It's not controversial. At least I didn't think it was controversial. Highest ranking post for my own, for my own profile. So all I did was, I think that time one of the Avengers movie came out. I think it was Endgame or something. I can't remember, but I basically just posted a poster of the movie, and I put there in the comment. I said, I love reading through the entire synopsis 10 times before I watch the movie. And then to my surprise, when I posted that, I had a lot of heated discussions, and some people actually outraged, why would you want to deprive yourself of the joy of watching a movie, and so on and so forth. And that opened up the way for me to engage all these people. So the more I engage, right, the more you can see the number, because LinkedIn shows you the number of views and number of likes, right? So that particular post generated in a very short time a very high number of likes and posts. Yeah. And then in this case, right, you will also notice that when the things that you post have got content that makes people stay on that page longer or need to scroll that page, right, this increases your activity level to the search engine. So this is something that you need to remember. So it cannot be just a one sentence. People don't even click, they kind of skim it. It's not going to show up on the algorithm. Yeah. Right. Okay. So we are actually quite nicely almost at the end of our session. And to round up for everyone, so we hope that everyone has understood what the basic principles of how LinkedIn works. Those of you who are on the fence, I hope you've been able to come to some decision if LinkedIn is for you. And I hope that the simple tips that we shared with everyone will work for you. Oh. Okay.
Come and see us.
Come and see us. No, I have. Okay, there's one profile that impressed. No, I was not impressed, but I was outraged. But I have to admit that it was a very effective profile. So it was okay. I'm not going to name that profile, okay, but it was this gentleman who works in one of the local banks, and he would always post on LinkedIn. He will take a picture of himself and the office cleaner and say, "Oh gosh, I'm so blessed to have this uncle clean my desk every day."
Oh.
And then he will post stuff like that. It was, and the thing is, he obviously ranked very high in engagement because his post kept appearing in my feed, and I wasn't even connected to him. So the thing is, and I have also heard, I think there's some headhunter some years back who shared with a group, right, that he himself got headhunted into that particular firm that he was representing at that time, simply because every day he was posting and his post kept appearing in that recruitment firm's CEO's page or something. And that's how, he got a call back from them. Yeah, so the the methods that people use to get noticed on LinkedIn are many. Yeah. So that's my answer to your question. And Lionel?
I don't know. I would say that the profiles that usually inspire me, because we didn't, is the actually some of the headlines that people use, that is make you want to say, hey, what's this all about? I mean, I off the top of my head, if you ask me now, I can't think, but if I were to just search for something, let's say if I type retail management, because I used to be from retail, if someone writes something that is different from what I think, or in agreement to how I think retail management should be done, usually I would click on that profile and take a closer look at that profile. So it has to be something that resonates with me, that makes me want to go. And I think it also related again to the search that we talk about, how you want to be found during your search. So if you want your profile to be noticed, you really need to know in that particular space that you want to be in, what are the keywords, what are the jargon, what are the cliche, if you want to put it, whereby when the person's type that word, the particular phrase or word, you will be found. And remember, I think we didn't touch on this, is when people look at your profile, you'll see your picture, and then they will see the headline. So the headline is pretty important in how you craft the headline, so that they will want to click. Because so again, it comes to the question I'm surprised nobody asked this time: should I put a picture there? What kind of picture should I put on my LinkedIn? I'm very surprised that this time round nobody asked this question, because that picture speaks 1,000 words to let the person decide. And that LinkedIn is different from your resume, because if you hear resume, usually it's, oh, don't put your picture, right? But for LinkedIn being a much more rich, more robust type of way that people can find you, it is the opposite. You do need a picture there.
And remember, right, in LinkedIn, we were talking about it, right? So the thing is, just like advertisements, when people first click on your profile, right, your profile cannot be a very cut and dried version of your CV. It doesn't give people any form of emotional connection, if we can use those words, because it is the story. Remember, there's someone who said facts tell, stories sell. So your story actually is what it's going to sell you. So your story can be anything that reflects your passion, your values, and your source of inspiration or whatever. So and this is important for you and for that company as well. What we mean is this: for example, right, if you're a very vibrant kind of person and you want a dynamic workplace and all that, and it comes through in the picture that you choose, the words that you use, and even the portfolio or something like that, right? Then you can be sure that the companies that are very serious, very straitjacket are not going to call you, and that's fine. So the same thing works both ways. So I guess the principle we'd like everyone to take away from this is, tell your story and embrace your brand, embrace your personal brand, whatever that might look like for you.
I think before we answer Chloe's question, Serene, if you're there, I think we should put up the poll, the survey. This survey will not take much of your time, but it's very important for us because it helps us plan subsequent session or events that we want to come up for the rest of the year, so that we can make sure that at least every time you come and join us, you will go back with something that is useful, something that's applicable, something that you can use in your job search.
Okay. And if a person is multi-talented and serve two very different industries, would it be better to have two different LinkedIn profiles or just one? Okay, my answer to this would be just have one. And multi-talented is a great thing. And you just need to make sure you're very clear in your about profile. What is the next mountain that you're planning to climb? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Eileen, not because she's one of my favorite colleagues. Yes, because even, I mean, you must not confuse LinkedIn with your resume, because I can understand that when it comes to resume, you will hear things like, oh, customize a resume. You know, maybe a person will have 2 or 3 resume, depending on what kind of job they look for, da, 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 da. But LinkedIn is really not your resume, you know? So you will treat it much different, because I mean, there are some people who say, why do I need LinkedIn when I have a resume, or the other way around? But just remember that for LinkedIn, it is a very, very, it speaks more than just what the resume can tell you, because which is why we talk about you sharing things, liking things, because it really shows, shall we say, the human side of you, to let the recruiter have a better understanding of what makes you tick, you know, what motivates you, what inspire you, so that they can, you know, at least know, okay, does Chloe or anybody fits the culture of my company, right? And it works both ways too, because you don't want to accept a job and then you work for the company, you realize that, hey, this company is just not the kind of environment that I can excel in. So it works both ways. And LinkedIn is just one of the many tools that, you know, allows both sides, you and the hiring manager or the recruiters, to have a better understanding of each other.
Yeah. And I think so in our experience, right, we have worked with people who are multi-talented, and you've got a lot of stuff that you want to show in your LinkedIn, and that's great, because that means that your profile will be picked up on, you know, on all the different disciplines that you are expert in. I think the issue is more like you have to be careful what you put on your about section, because if you are not clear what is it that you're looking for in your next role, then people can get very confused. So this person is about 2 different industries. Will she be interested in this coming role? So I think that's what we're trying to get at. Yeah.
You need to talk faster. Suddenly there's lots of questions.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the session. It would be cool if we could also have a session conducted by a recruiter who can show us how and what they do when they actually use LinkedIn Recruiter to generate potential candidates and shortlist them. Okay, thank you for that suggestion. Yeah. If I have little experience to showcase in LinkedIn, what should I put in? Okay.
I think that's the skeleton part.
Yeah, that's the skeleton part, but your experience need not be strictly paid employment.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
if you're a
LinkedIn,
student, if you're a student who is coming out to work for the first time, you would have a lot of experience instead of companies to employment. Instead of employment, you can put down all the experience you have in school, in your curriculum, I mean extracurricular activities and volunteering work. And if you're coming back from a career break after family care, during the tenure of your family care, there would have been other things that you're doing. You could have been maintaining a blog, you could have been setting up an e-commerce shop, maybe you're active on Shopify, you're a carousel dealer or something like that. All these are things that you can actually put on LinkedIn. So it's not necessarily a place for you to only put paid employment. So I'm hoping that this response will give some help to those of you who are dealing with career breaks, employment gaps.
Eileen, I think you should switch the slide so that they know how to contact us.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Okay, so yeah, for those of you who are not with us, oh, what's that? Oh, it was sorry. Yeah, for those of you who are not with us yet, you want to get more specific help, we encourage you to connect with us. Send us an email and get connected with one of our career coaches who will be able to help you in this journey.
Yeah, so I think I don't want to hold anyone back if they have other appointment. Just want to thank all of you who have spent this time. Thank those that have participated in the poll. Yeah, it's always been fun working with Eileen.
Yes.
And it's and I hope that you can join us, because we have several events that is scheduled next month. You can find it out either on our IBF website, on our events page, or if you are connected with us, is one of the ways that is shown on the screen. We hope to see you in another event.
Yeah, and thank you, Jacqueline. Acknowledged.
Yeah.
Wait, do we have any other questions? We don't, right?
No, I think it's 4:01 and
yes. Okay. Wait. Okay. Thank you, everyone. It was nice talking to you, and yeah, all the best. And we hope to see you with one of our team members soon. Yeah.
Yeah.